Welcome back to part 2 of our season 3 premiere. If you are just joining us, you'll definitely want to hit pause and head back to part 1 to get the full context of this conversation. We'll be waiting. For those of you who just finished the first half, welcome back. We are picking up right where we left off with Staci, diving deeper into the nuances of her story and what it looks like to live without the easy answers. Just a quick reminder, our season 3 giveaway is live for the next 2 weeks. If you rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can be entered to win. Check the show notes for the how-to and head to Instagram to see the prizes. Now, let's get back into the rest of my conversation with Staci. This is Nothing Happens for a Reason. Well, I'm just so curious about sitting here today right now. Do you often use the word terminal? Is it the word you really connect with? And what does that mean for how you live your life every day?
It's really hard in the metastatic space to define diagnosis because there are people living with metastatic breast cancer that have been 20 plus years on medications that have been working and keeping them healthy and living. And then there's people who get a metastatic diagnosis and it's within months or years that they pass. So in terms of the diagnosis itself, I do consider it a terminal illness, but we also identify with chronic illness because we can have longer survival rates. But we will always be on medication. We will never be off of treatments. And our treatment lines are only going to work for a certain amount of time, and then you're on to the next and on to the next. And with every treatment, there's side effects and there's appointments are never going away. Scans are never going away. So I don't consider myself to be terminal with where I'm at right now. My disease is not life-threatening with where it's at right now. But that can change at any point in time. It's like a very fragile state. So that we balance between terminal and chronic illness.
You briefly mentioned, so you have a sister. Is she?
Yeah, I have 2 sisters and actually a whole slew of cousins and aunts. Our family has been aware in the last 5 years of these genetic mutations and how they could potentially be passed down. And so some of my family members have gotten tested and have been positive for one or the other mutation. Some of them do choose to get screenings done as soon as possible. Some are choosing to take prophylactic measures like having a bilateral salpingectomy, or salpingoophorectomy, which is where you have your ovaries and your fallopian tubes removed to prevent ovarian cancer, or a prophylactic mastectomy to prevent breast cancer. And some of them have chosen not to get tested. For each of them, it's their own journey on what they feel is right for them and how they want to move through the world. I try to share as much information as I can and learn, and we have a group chat and everybody will just dump things in there that we're learning about ourselves or within the community and asking questions. So we have our own little close-knit family circle that is navigating this too.
I'm so glad I gave you the opportunity to drop all of your medical words and terminologies to really show off all that you know right now. I was like, those are some big words you're saying.
I know,
I don't even know how to spell them.
They all have acronyms. BSO.
No, I want you to use the full words for sure.
Oophorectomy is a BSO.
My gosh.
Double mastectomy. Yeah. I actually just had, I've been in menopause since I was 29 through Lupron shots, which is ovarian suppression. And I actually just had a full hysterectomy in January so that I could go off of the Lupron. I can lower my risk of gynecological cancers, and that's just one less thing that I have to worry about. So I'm very, very big on previvors and people with high risk, like knowing that there are options out there and that it's totally an independent choice on what you choose to navigate that.
Yeah, no, I love that you just touched on that because it's something that I have, like, passively thought about. I'm one of 3 sisters. My oldest sister died a few years ago. All 3 of us, though, have during different periods of life, have, like, had decided that we're not having kids, and I've, like, thought about, okay, now that I've officially decided that I am not going to have children, like, should I get a hysterectomy? Like, is that something? And I talked briefly with my OB a few years ago, and, she set me up with, like, a genetic counselor
Mm.
appointment who just, like, reviewed more my mom's records and, because she did genetic testing. But it is something that I, like, think about even though according to from my understanding, again, you probably actually tell me more than what I understand about it, but when my mom did the genetic testing, like, she didn't have the genetic marker for ovarian cancer, and so they were like, "We don't think your daughters need to be tested because you don't actually have the genetic marker." And again, the genetic counselor looked at it, and she kind of explained things, and she's like, "You're pretty low risk." But in my head, I'm still like, if I know I'm not gonna have kids, like, should I just do it? I know that it's a fight with insurance. Again, we can get back on to our podium talking and ranting about our healthcare system, but it is something I've thought about.
Yeah. Yeah, and what I have found in my genetic counseling experiences is that you'll be hard pressed to find a genetic counselor that gives you like a statistic that's like you should definitely do this.
Mm,
They're going to tell you, what the statistic is. And my first genetic counseling appointment, she was like, you're at a 17% risk of getting ovarian cancer, at least at some point in your lifetime. And the normal risk for women is like 3 to 4%. So
mhm.
she's like, obviously, that sounds like a huge jump.
Yeah,
But
it
on
does.
the other end, you're at an 83% chance of not getting it. And for where I was at that time, I mean, I was 28 and newly diagnosed, and I was like, okay, that's a great way for me to look at that so that I don't have to have fear and anxiety over my ovaries right now.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, and especially now where I'm at being metastatic, I look at it as, they'll tell me you're not that high of risk for ovarian cancer, or you have very little risk of uterine cancer. And I'm like, "Okay, but my odds have not been great."
Yeah, right.
I I was 28 when I was diagnosed. I was 32 when I got a metastatic diagnosis. Like, I'm not a betting gal, but, like, if I were, I wouldn't bet on me to not get the cancer. So, just take in every time that I had the conversation, even in pre-testing, pre-admission testing and stuff like, "Oh, you're having a hysterectomy? Do you have kids? No? Oh." And it's
Yeah.
like, why is that your initial question?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
First of all, it's not your business, and second of all, like, why not ask, how do you feel about having this done
Yeah.
and not having kids?
Yeah.
Instead of just assuming that it's, like, this sad thing, and I don't feel like my life is any less by not having children. Like, with this diagnosis, like, I have this mindset of, like, I'm gonna be happy. I gotta figure out how to do it. It's a daily struggle, but I have my good weeks and good months, and I have my tougher ones. But, like, ultimately, like, I wanna be happy and I wanna put myself first. And when it comes to kids, like, you don't get to put yourself first when you have children. I know that. I would love my own kids if I had them, but I don't I don't want to.
Yeah.
I wanna take
Yeah.
care of me and my dog.
Exactly. Yeah, it's similar for me. I, like, thought I was gonna have kids until I was 27. I was like 100%. I was like, "I am gonna be a great mom. I love kids." Like, just that is what I'm going to do. And then my mom died when I was 27, and that, like, took me down a whole existential path. It still was, like, on the radar, still think something I thought I was gonna do. And then my sister died, and I was like, I just I did a lot of work over many years around, like, similar to what you're saying, that I've been taking care of other people my whole entire life. I also, oddly, right, picked a career where I take care of people, and my grief, my trauma, the last 7 years, what it's taught me is, like, I really want to just, like, enjoy my life, and what that means for me, like you just said, is I wanna put myself first, like, and I'm still an incredibly loving person. I'm a good auntie to all my friends who have kids. I love my dog. I love my partner. Like, I have people I still take care of, but, like, I don't want something else. Like, I want to protect my peace, and it's been a
Yes.
really hard handful of years for me, and I just, like, want my life to feel okay on the days that I have control over it, and so I think it sounds similar in that way for you, different circumstances, but being like, you wanna lean into joy and you wanna put yourself first, and I think that's a beautiful thing to do, and a lot of people don't understand it, and, people call me selfish, or when I talk about getting a hysterectomy, people are like, "But what about kids? What if you change your mind?" I'm like, "I've done a lot of therapy and I've made my decision. It's fine.
Yeah. And if I change my mind, there's other ways to
There's
have
other
kids if
ways."
I
Yeah.
wanna have a kid. And
Yeah.
if I change my mind and can't have a kid, like, I will deal with that. I
Yeah.
accept the decision that
Yeah.
I'm making and what the, potential outcomes could be from that. And yeah, I totally resonate with that.
Yeah. Did you end up following through and finishing IVF years ago?
Yeah, actually we did. So this was another like layer to the whole divorce and what we were going to do. So we did IVF and we did make embryos and we have 6 embryos that are in storage right now. And because my IVF was due to a cancer diagnosis, I got 5 years of free storage of these embryos. Now, when we got divorced, that was obviously a shared asset that we had to decide what we were going to do with. And we did decide to donate them to science to be studied. And he signed off on it and sent the paperwork back to me. And I still need to sign off and get it notarized and send it in within the next couple months. But this is kind of like the last chapter of divorce. Once this is done, like everything's tied up and done. And I hold a lot of guilt over that because there are so many people in the cancer community that have their fertility struggles, have, wanted more kids but can't have any more, or struggle to get pregnant, have to go through surrogacy, all these things. Like IVF is not easy on the body, and you don't always get results from it. So I really struggle with the idea that I have these embryos and I'm choosing to not use them, but I have come to terms with it because I think I was put in a position to make that decision in a very short amount of time without any time to process or talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Um so
Hmm.
yeah, it's the circumstances just kind of unfolded to be where we're at now with it.
It sounds like a really beautiful decision to donate them to research. Like, I didn't even know you could do that, and so, yeah, like, are there people on the other side that might resent that decision or have feelings about it from their experience? And, like, you might be helping people with a
A whole slew of yeah,
a whole slew,
whatever
like,
they do with them, yeah.
whatever they do. I think that's amazing. Like, when you were saying that, I was like, "Oh, no," like, do they just have to, like, dispose of them at 5 years? And, I mean, I guess they could, but I think it's really wonderful that you're choosing that direction.
Yeah. Yeah, they give you the option, dispose of them completely, donate to science, or donate to a couple or something like that, which I don't know. We did not get the testing done on the embryos to see if they have any of them have the genetic mutations that I carry. So that being said, I wouldn't wanna put a family in a position where they have to learn all about this and figure out what's best for their children or when they become adults and all that kind of stuff.
Not that we can control very many things in our life, but yeah, I mean, that's a risk with your genetics. And I think it's a hard decision, but it again is a very like smart decision to be like, I don't know, like this could be something that's passed on and maybe avoiding the future pain of that, of like what you're going
Yeah.
through right now. That makes a lot of sense. And again, I'm sure it was incredibly hard to make the decision.
Yeah. Yeah. It was that. I mean, once we decided on divorce, I knew that that was what we were going to do. But getting to the divorce decision, that played a big factor because he was like, but we have babies. And I'm like, no, we don't.
Oh my
We have
goodness.
embryos.
Okay, so in your form that you filled out, you had shared that going into therapy, you said wouldn't give you the answers, but the strength to like build trust within yourself, which I think was such a
Mm.
beautiful sentiment. And so my question is for someone who is listening to this episode who's currently like drowning either in a diagnosis or just like in a relationship they're not happy in, like how do you begin to build self-trust when things around you just feel like they're falling apart?
Yeah. Yeah. I totally went into therapy thinking there was something wrong with me and I needed my therapist to tell me what was wrong and how to fix it. And what I quickly learned with talk therapy is they don't give you answers. First, you have to find the right therapist that you can vibe with and open up to about things that you might have been burying down deep, never talked about to anybody before. That was probably the scariest part in the beginning was like the unpacking of things that I've never said out loud before. And once we got through that stage and we started building a relationship where I felt like I was talking to a friend, but a friend who was like removed from my entire history. She was only getting to hear my side of my stories, and I had never had that before. She would talk me through situations that I brought in that made me really anxious or made me really angry. And a lot of my sessions were about my in-laws, my ex or my mother-in-law. I struggled with that relationship. So I would complain and vent, and she would validate, and then I would leave and be like, "Okay, but what am I gonna do about this?"
Mm,
And eventually, she helped kind of breadcrumb me to a place where I was like, "Well, if this happens again, what do I do? Like, I don't know how to handle this." And she goes, "Okay, so this is where we can come up with a mantra that you can repeat in your head or a coping mechanism, or like an immediate like escape from a situation that you're getting heightened in." And I was just like, "Okay, like, that's all great, said and done, but, like, how do I do it? Tell me how to do it." And she's like, "I don't know because I'm not in your situation. I'm not there with you in that moment." So, it was a lot of just, like, trial and error and, like, biting the bullet to be like, "I'm really nervous to send this text to set this boundary, but I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna text my therapist and be like, 'Oh my god, I just sent this. What do I do now? What if she responds? Blah, blah, blah.'" And she's like, "Just see how she responds. Just see how she reacts. You're building it up in your head to be one thing, and it might be something completely different. And we just need to be able to get you prepared to respond to either or situation." So the whole idea of like putting in the work of therapy, I always thought was going to therapy, talking about things and just like being validated and being like, yeah, I'm right. I know I'm right in this. But really, the work is taking everything that you get validated about and then learning how to move through the world in like feeling validated then allows you to trust what you're feeling and trust your gut and know that, like, okay, if I need to respond in a way that this person is not going to receive well, I have to trust that I'm doing the most authentic thing for me and the most honest thing for me. And how they react to it is for them to handle and manage. because my biggest toxic trait is always trying to deliver news or deliver things in a way that's palpable to that person. And my therapist is like, "Stop holding their hand." So
Yeah,
I think
it's not yours.
it's not yours to carry. It's not yours to deal with. And yeah, that's where like the self-trust, like really I had to build that and to be able to say that like, all right, it's uncomfortable for me to have this conversation, but it's what feels the most honest and authentic to me. And I have to trust that like I'm going to be safe and okay, even if you're not happy with what I have to say or do.
Yeah, I really love that perspective of like through the long work and your frustration of like, just give me the answer, right? Like what was happening behind the scenes, you not realizing was yeah, you gaining self trust.
Hmm.
And that I'm sure was a very important lesson for you as you were going through all the things that you were going through. And I'm sure also helped to the point of like, again, ending your marriage when you very easily could have stayed.
Yeah.
But you were looking within yourself and saying like, "No, I need to be honest with myself. I need to trust myself that my feelings and my needs and all the things that are coming up for me around this, the feeling at camp of like, I don't wanna go home." Like, that's important to listen to that voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a long haul. Like it's not an immediate fix. It is practicing over and over again and preparing yourself for any situation that you could be in. And that I think is the toughest part is that you just want to snap your fingers and be in that better place, but you have to feel a lot of hard and dark feelings before you get to that like full confidence build and unapologetic joy and all the things that they sell you on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I tell my clients that's called the rush to wellness. Like,
Yes.
I just wanna be done with it. I'm gonna process all the things quickly and do all the things you're telling me to do in a short period of time, and then I'm just gonna be fixed. And I'm like, does not work like that.
Not
I
at
wish
all.
it did, but
Let me know
no,
how it
not at
works for
all.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I will see you next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have 2 more questions and they're kind of connected. And this is, I think, kind of these wrap up questions. So, okay, part one to it is you mentioned wanting to become like your favorite version of yourself. And who is that version? And how does she differ than the 28-year-old who was diagnosed initially?
I feel like I've lived 10 lives since that initial diagnosis at 28. My entire life, and this is where my trauma therapy comes in because everyone's got childhood trauma. My entire life, I have always felt uncomfortable in my skin. I've never felt like I had a place in the world that was mine. I just felt like I was there for everyone else in caretaker roles, in the friend therapist role, in the lighthearted, be positive, get a positive perspective role. And I've always wanted to be that, like, I want to be the best at whatever task you're giving me or whatever task is at hand. Like if I'm in therapy, I want to be the best patient and that my therapist has. Like if even at the oncology office, like I want to be the best patient. And I always defined my worth by what I was doing for others in my work, in my personal life. And that really resulted in super low self worth. And I grew up in an environment where we didn't talk about anxiety and depression. And we were kind of fed this narrative of you have a roof over your head, you have food on your table, you have a family that loves you, like you're fine. Whatever's going on in your life is not that big of a deal. So I never identified my anxiety and depression, even though I know now I always had it. And I absolutely got to points of suicide ideation, especially when I was in college. I went to school 5 hours away from home. And so I was untethered. I just heard that word recently, and I'm like, that's such a great word to describe things like this. I felt untethered to what I was meant to do in the world, because now I'm in this whole new space with all new people that don't know me, don't need anything from me. I don't know how to show up and what I have to offer. And I was just in such a low place. I mean, that continued through my young adulthood. And I think that's how I ended up in the relationship that I ended up in, because my ex had told me from day one, I will take the weight of the world off of you and onto my shoulders. And that was kind of like all I ever wanted in life, was for somebody to hold me, take care of me, and let me just be me, just be. But I quickly learned that that wasn't the case. I was very much in a codependent, narcissistic relationship. I was a codependent. I was a supply. I had that positive attitude. I had that instinct to just come in and pick up the pieces and tell you it's going to be okay and make it okay and do all the work to show you it's going to be okay and all of that. I mean, that went on for 5 years before I got my diagnosis, and then all of a sudden I'm a cancer patient, and it's supposed to be all about me and what can be done for me, and I'm still carrying all of this weight for everybody in my life. And I just, that first time at camp, I was like, I really don't think I am happy. Like, I don't want to talk about my home life while I'm here, because that doesn't make me happy. I want to talk about you, and I want to get to know what your life is like. And you have a partner that's supportive. What's that like? Tell me more. And I felt guilty that I wasn't happy. I felt like I could pick and choose all these different things in my life that should show that I have a good life and I am happy. And we are this picture perfect couple and everything. But I was just lying to myself the whole time and to everybody else. And so when I did finally break that mentality in therapy, it took months, and it took a lot of convincing of my therapist looking me in the eyes and being like, you are a good person as you are. Like, you don't need to show up for people all of the time. You don't need to put extra into work. Like, you are just, you're good. And I never resonated with feeling like a good person. I just always wanted to look like a good person. So when we finally broke that mentality, I little by little tried to show up as my most authentic self and sit in the discomfort of voicing my opinion that might not be the popular one, or bouncing back when I don't agree with somebody, or setting a boundary when I know that it's going to upset them. And as I did that little by little, I started realizing, like, oh, I do have what it takes to feel like I have my place in this world, and nobody else gets to dictate that. And I've been able to just kind of develop things that I do for myself, as little as a skincare routine, or as big as going to every cancer retreat that comes across my email so that I can travel the country. Like, I just choose me, and I choose what I want to do or what I don't want to do. And I am now, I'm closer than ever to being my favorite version of myself, because I can walk through the world unbothered by general anxiety, and I can show up as myself and maybe get a sense that somebody's not vibing with me, and I don't care, because I like who I am, and I build my connections with my people, and my cancer friends, my best friends in my circle, my sisters, my family, like, the connections that I've been able to grow, and just like the female empowerment that I've invited into my life, like, I just want to exude that because I witness it. I feed off of it, and I want to be able to give that back. And I do a lot of volunteering in the breast cancer community. I work in nonprofit. Like, I do things that are giving back to the world, but then I'm also doing things that are pouring into myself, and that's how I'm able to find that favorite version.
I love everything that you just said. Just I'm relating to so much of it too, and even just a small plug of I don't know if you've listened to the episode I did with a codependent specialist.
Not yet, but it's on my list. I saw the title.
Yeah, so it's with another podcaster, and she's a coach, a codependency coach, Alyssa Zander, and I mean, I love all the episodes for different reasons, but I loved doing that episode because really it was, like, so much about my healing and
Mhm.
my realization of how codependent I have been and how it was causing me so much pain in my life and how it very much connects to how I was grieving, how I am grieving, and yeah, just so many things that you just said that I'm like, how do we find our authenticity for us while still, like, being the authentic versions that we do like to care for people and nurture people, but it's yeah, it's not we're not doing it on empty anymore, and it's not to
Right.
feel purpose and belonging. It's because that's something I enjoy doing while I'm also pouring into myself, like you said. So it's just yeah, it was that was very beautifully said. I am sure through your journey, there's been aspects of, like, grieving the version of you that you thought you were going to have or the future that you thought you were going to have, right? Like, I think that's so much of so many types of grief is, like, we rewrite our narratives and we have to grieve the narratives, and it might be a choice, right? Like, leaving a relationship, you chose to leave the relationship, and there's still grief with it. So the question is, what does the unplanned future look like now? What brings you the most joy in your day-to-day that you might have missed if you had not experienced what you've been through? And I know, like, you're talking about very specific things of, like, going to, like, the cancer camps and, being an advocate and doing these different things in that community, but are there other things that come to mind for your unplanned future?
I definitely try to, and not to sound cliche, but like live in the moment, live in the now, and just see like what is directly right in front of me. And right now, currently, I have been casually dating somebody, which was definitely unplanned, because going through a divorce while navigating a metastatic diagnosis, like, I very much was choosing, like, a life on my own and just never imagined feeling like I was in a place where I wanted a partner because I handle all of this on my own, ever feeling like I would find somebody that would enjoy me because I just didn't like me so much and all that. So I went back and forth on all the apps and had some horror stories, but I recently re-downloaded one and I was able to connect with somebody who I just have genuine, like, fun and light conversation with, and we've gone out on, a couple dates that were very, like, rom-com-esque, and I haven't been single since I was 20. So, this is a future that, like, I did not think I would be divorced, living with metastatic breast cancer at 33 years old and navigating the modern dating world, and it scares the crap out of me, but it is also so fun to my favorite thing is that, like, I get to date when I'm this version of myself. Whereas, like, if I was in my 20s, like, I was wifed up, like, all of my 20s, literally. I had one relationship that ended when I was 23 and then right away jumped in with my ex and then ended up marrying him. So, if I had dated in my 20s, I think it would have been a completely different experience. I was a completely different version of myself, and I think it would have made a maybe went down a couple weird roads, but being where I'm at now and feeling confident in myself and loving myself, and it's fun to date and figure this out and keep it casual, and I'm not looking for anything serious, and I don't I don't feel like I need a partner to be whole.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes dating so fun. And I never thought that I would feel that way about myself, but, like, I do feel like I am enough and my life is enough, and if I am alone for the rest of my life, like, I'm happy because I have my connections, but yeah, that's definitely the unplanned future I'm living right now.
He just can't go into your apartment. That's your safe
No.
place. No one's allowed.
That's a boundary. I haven't even told him that yet. I haven't invited him over. If he ever asks, that boundary is getting set right away. Um,
That's
but
hilarious. Wow, that's
yeah,
amazing though. Yeah, like so fun, like you said, and casual and just something that you weren't like looking for or anticipating. And it makes me happy to hear that like someone has come into your life right now that can like bring you some levity and some joy and that's amazing. So
yeah.
that's
Thank you.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, very
Now I just got to
cool.
figure out how to tell him about the cancer, but
Oh,
that's for when it gets.
he doesn't know?
No, no.
You can just send him this podcast episode. You're like, "I did something really cool, no big deal."
You might learn something about me I haven't discussed yet, but I mentioned you in it. 5-star review so far. Yeah. I mean, that's like
That's
totally a
funny.
crazy thing to navigate in my mind. I'm
Yeah.
like, if we are keeping things casual and light, like,
Mm,
I don't want to drop this heavy bomb on you and like potentially scare you away or make you feel like some sort of way. And my therapist is like, stop trying to dictate how he's going to react. I'm like, okay, so when the time comes, the time comes. I'm working through that.
that is amazing. I want updates.
Well, I will share them.
I want updates of whatever happens with that. It's funny that you're like, "Yeah,
It's
just maybe
yeah.
I'll tell him, maybe I won't," you know? Who knows?
I know I go back and forth. Like my coworkers are all invested, my friends are invested. I'm like, they're like, but you like him. Like you keep smiling when you talk about him. I'm like, I know, and that's like kind of why I don't want to tell him. But
Yeah. Yeah.
he's a really nice guy. He's like super gentlemanly. He's calm. He's like just his presence is calming all in
Mm,
all. So I'm like, I just kind of want to enjoy this right now. Like if it gets to a place where it's progressing, like I know what I gotta do, but
yeah.
while we're keeping it light and flirty, I'll keep you updated.
Please do. I love it. I've loved this conversation. I think you're amazing. And I just appreciate that you reached out to me and expressed interest. And this has just been fun. Like, I've had a really good time getting to know you. And I think you're an incredible person. And so I feel lucky that have come into my space and you've taught me a lot too. So just thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been so fun and I think this space is so necessary. Like the fact that you have a platform to talk about grief and all the different ways that it affects people is beyond necessary in the world that we're living in. And I appreciate that we were able to, there's obviously serious topics that we touched on, but uh, in my experience, being able to laugh about it is the only way to like bring yourself out of like the depths. And it's an ebb and flow, and it's really hard when you're in the dark and you feel stuck down there. So anytime that we can crack a joke and laugh a little bit, it just kind of pulls you out. So thank you for this opportunity, and I can't wait to listen to all the other episodes and keep following your page.
Thank you so much, Staci. Again, appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
So that's it for this special 2-part season premiere of Nothing Happens for a Reason. As we wrap up for this week, don't forget that the giveaway is officially open for the next 2 weeks. Your ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts are how we reach more humans who are navigating their own not okay seasons. So please take a moment to leave one. Check the show notes for the details on how to enter. And to stay connected between episodes, come find us on Instagram or sign up for the newsletter. If you're craving that offline tactile connection, consider joining the waitlist for the Echo Registry to become a pen pal. And of course, you can grab the free ebook that I wrote, Let Me Know If You Need Anything, and Other Things to Stop Saying, right on my website. I am so glad to be back with you for this season 3. Take care of yourself, and I'll be back next week with a brand new episode.